From buying flagship smartphones under $700 to pay almost double and still get few features, this is how the smartphone market is starting to break. For a long time, the premium smartphones market was locked in a comfortable, predictable rhythm where standard flagship smartphone costs exactly $649. In 2013, a tiny smartphone company shook the tech world to its core. Their mission? Build phones with the flagship specs, but sell them for half the price. They were the flagship killers. However, two major historical inflection points permanently destroyed affordable pricing and gave birth to the modern premium era. The first shift occurred in 2017 when Apple released the 10th anniversary iPhone X at a staggering $1,000 price tag, shattering the sub-$700 ceiling and proving consumers would pay a massive premium for edge-to-edge OLED screens and facial recognition. Seeing Apple's success, Samsung triggered the second major price increase in 2020 by launching the Galaxy S20 at a breathtaking $1,399. This massive jump was driven by the integration of expensive first-generation 5G hardware and space zoom. However, they are just as a price with the later generation at $1,199 with the Galaxy S21 Ultra. These aggressive moves by Apple and Samsung successfully shifted the baseline of what a true flagship should cost, completely pricing out original disruptors like OnePlus, who originally entered the market with the OnePlus One at just $299 in 2014, but was eventually forced to abandon its flagship killer identity to chase the new $1,000 plus industry standards. The true downfall of OnePlus as global smartphone margins shrank and the cost of components skyrocketed. While increasing the price of new flagship smartphones, we lost some useful features like replaceable batteries back in 2015 or a 3.5mm headphone jack in a smartphone back in 2019 with the Note 10, or removing the SD card support and no charger in the box back in 2021. These are the features removed while increasing the price on these flagship smartphones. Look closely at the latest ultra premium smartphone, $1,300 smartphone. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? But beneath the titanium frames and marketing buzzwords, a quiet crisis is breaking the smartphone market. We have officially entered the era of a tech shrinklification, where you pay more to get less hardware. Screens can't get noticeably brighter, physical battery sizes are constrained by safety, and camera sensors are iterating by friction of a millimeter. Because these tech giants can no longer give us a true hardware breakthroughs, they are aggressively pivoting to a dangerous AI and software illusion, forcing half-baked artificial features down our throats to justify keeping flagship prices over $1,000. The ultimate proof of this broken market is hidden in the physical memory inside of your device, where global components and semiconductor prices have surged, prompting brands to quietly pass a penalty down to your wallet. Look no further than the brand new Pixel 11 Pro XL for a reality check, whereas the last year Pixel 10 Pro XL shipped with a generous 16 gigs of RAM as standard. Google quietly gutted the base model of the Pixel 11 Pro XL down to 12 gigs. If you want 16 gigs back, you are forced to pay more luxury tech just to upgrade to a higher tier storage model or even more RAM. Meanwhile, Samsung is pulling the exact same corporate stunt, stubbornly locked base models of the S26 Ultra at 12 gigs of RAM for generations just to insulate their own profit margin from rising supply chain costs. On-device AI models, these exact same brands are marketing as the future of tech. Running these localized models requires more RAM to be permanently parked and dedicated in the background, meaning tech companies are burying our phones in heavy software while simultaneously cutting or freezing the physical memory needed to run them cleanly. This hypocrisy leads directly to a massive price versus value crisis, because as flagship gets stripped of physical value and inflated in pricing, mid-range budget devices have become so incredibly competitive that the average consumer has no logical, functional reason to drop $1,300 on a top-tier smartphone. smartphone, or sticking to a same smartphone for the next 3 to 5 years with absolutely no need to update. You still get software and security updates while the battery degrades over time, else your phone still runs the latest software and no need for a new AI buzz. If consumers realize that mid-range smartphones are completely fine, or sticking with the smartphone for longer than 3 years, their massive hardware profits dry up, forcing companies to build elaborate software ecosystem traps, lock accessory protocols, and software subscriptions paywall to keep you chained in their platforms. Even the industry shift towards 7 years of software updates from Google and Samsung, which sounds consumer-friendly on paper, is actually breaking the upgrade cycle because users now are holding on their perfectly functional devices longer, leaving manufacturers desperate to find deceptive hardware stripping methods to squeeze margin out of the few enthusiastic who still buy yearly flagships. The illusion has completely shattered, and the best way to protest a tech market that asks you to pay more for fewer physical resources is to war with your wallet. Keep the phone you already have and completely step away from the corporate upgrade wheel. Or there's another way around: you can buy these smartphones at the lowest price, like some sort of deals, like Samsung gave us a S26 Ultra for $1,000, which is a pretty reasonable deal in 2026. By the way, you can check out the prior listed in this video. Things didn't stop here. What about the batteries for these smartphones? Starting with the Galaxy S20 in 2020, Samsung locked its top-tier flagship smartphones in a strict 5000 mAh battery with a 45-watt fast charging, while Chinese competitors pushed battery technology boundaries and crossing 80 watts to 100-watt fast charging. Samsung chose to leave these core metrics unchanged for more than half a decade to prioritize safety and preserve a long-term battery cell health. While maintaining the same battery for 6 years, we're expecting to see the change next year. While pricing is still go up the hill, and increasing battery would decrease the lifespan of the battery. Whereas the S25 Ultra, we got 2000 charge cycles to reach the 80% of its original capacity, but with the new tech that would go down to 1000 cycles, almost half. Meanwhile, Google reduces the battery on Pixel 11 Pro XL compared to 10 Pro XL. How ironic to manage other stuff charges more for a newer phone. Not even this, the cameras where we saw our biggest game. Samsung gave us 200 megapixel for the first time in S23 Ultra, used almost the same sensor till now with a slight better low light performance. This year we saw the ultra wide change, and while S23 Ultra has that mighty 10x10 megapixel, which we can take really good long zoomed in shots, cut down to only 5x 50 megapixel with the S24 Ultra, and that 3x10 megapixel is still the same even till now on the S26 Ultra. Maybe they will remove this next year, who knows. A lot has changed in the recent years. The big tech giants are the ones who decide where we are heading. With the recent launch of Pixel 11 Pro XL, we saw some interesting things. Instead of giving us a better performance or more cores, they decreased the cores on the Tensor G6, 7 cores instead of 8 cores on last generation. Tensor was already behind the competition, and with this move they are even behind. While some defend them, we are getting a better battery life. Another major development where Qualcomm is making dual processor for next year, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6, and there is a Pro version of this chipset, which means base one will come with the less performance and probably equipped with many flagship phones, but Pro will be exclusive only to the top ones. Seems like tech industry is thinking about saving every penny to make profits, cost cutting all the way around to the cores. I want to hear from you. Is 4 gigs of RAM downgrade, or a 7-core CPU is a downgrade or an absolute deal breaker for you in 2026 flagship smartphone? Or do you honestly think the corporate software optimization is magic enough to save it? So that is all from today. I'll see you next time. Till then, peace out.